Well, welcome back. I'm Ken Maxey, pastor at Grace Calvary Chapel, and this is our 2022 Calvary Chapel Heartland Regional Conference. It's quite a mouthful, and we are being joined here by Pastor Greg Malnowski from Enid, Oklahoma.
Yep.
That's right. So now, if I remember correctly, you did not originally start out in Oklahoma.
No, I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. So
Okay, so now how does someone go from Atlanta, Georgia to Enid, Oklahoma?
literally, God said move to Oklahoma about 4 years ago. You know, we were plugged into our church and having a great time serving there, and God said move to Oklahoma. So that's what we did.
So you just up and packed and...
Yeah, I mean, basically, it was a bit of a process. 9 months of seeking the Lord while the lease ran out anyway, and then once we got to the end of the lease, we looked at the bank account. We had just enough money for either a moving truck or rent on a new place, and we said, well, God's pulling us to Oklahoma, so moving truck it is.
Oh, that's terrific. That's good. So now how long have you been at Enid?
So we've been there for 4 years now, and for the first 2 years, it was just serving alongside. I led the men's ministry for a time, and then about 2 years in, God told the senior pastor who was serving there that it was time for him to step aside and bring up the next guy, and apparently I was the next guy. So
So you served as a role as an assistant or associate pastor?
No.
Oh, you were just attending?
I led the men's ministry, but I was ordained the Sunday I took over.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
That's
was
great.
it kind of trial by fire?
It has been a little bit, but it's been a lot of learning. Very quickly in some cases.
Okay. So what's one of the big things? What's been a highlight of being the senior pastor? Church?
It's really good to be able to see the growth in people. It's something that you can kind of experience if you're discipling people or if you're really plugged into people's lives, but I find as the pastor, there's a level where you're discipling everybody. And so even the conversations that you have with people going from Sunday to Sunday, you can really start to see some of the changes in their life, some of the growth that's coming about. And then, bringing new people in and all that. I mean, a lot of that is really the highlight. So.
Oh, yeah. So Enid is a military base town.
Yeah, we're right outside of Vance Air Force Base.
Okay. So are there a lot of people coming and going? Is that difficult to...
So sometimes Enid has, I think it's like 50,000 people roughly. I'm pretty sure a little less than half of them are probably military related. So we definitely do see our share of military people who come in and go out. But there's still a lot of people who just live in Enid all the time. So a lot of the people that are in our church that come in for into leadership positions and that kind of stuff, some of them are people who were brought in for various reasons, but they're all people who are pretty invested in the community. Okay. So
all right. So if someone is contemplating stepping into a role of a senior pastor, what's a piece of advice you would maybe give to them?
I will say this, and it's actually something Josh told me many years ago, which is if you can be happy doing anything else in your life, do that first. Because being a senior pastor is something that being a pastor is something that you really have to be called into. The Lord places a high premium on the people that he puts in charge of his sheep. Yeah. And if you're not called into that, if you just want to be someone who's just doing that just because it's something that seems interesting to do, you're going to end up with a toll on your life that is at some point going to become too hard, too difficult for you to bear, because the Lord is the one who gives us the strength in order to be able to do that on a consistent basis. I'm reminded of the sorcerer who came up to Peter and at one point, and he said, "Man, I really want the power that you guys have." And they're like, "No, man, you wouldn't be able to do this because you don't have that relationship with the Lord." But again, when you're shepherding his flock, it's more than just having a relationship with him. You really need to be called into that. We all have the different roles that we play, right? We're all different parts of the body. So it's not like being the pastor is more important than being the guy who's sweeping the facility every week. It's just, this is the part that I'm called to play, and that's the part they're called to play, and we all do what the Lord calls us to do.
Well, it's great words, and great attitude that you have there, and really appreciate it. Yeah, it's definitely not a 9 to 5, is it?
No.
If you go in and thinking it's going to be 9 to 5, you're going to be in trouble. So,
Oh, for sure.
So, well, thank you so much, Pastor Gregory Malnowski from Enid, Oklahoma. And if anyone is passing that way, I'm sure you would love to have them join you.
Definitely. Come on through. We're happy to have anybody in the area
All right.
come in and join us. So.
All right, sounds good. Thank you all for joining us, and may God bless you richly.